started. Thank you all so much for coming to our third monthly novel night. We're thrilled that you're to join us. For two great writers, we're really excited about having them here with us. Both of them have journeyed from far away, and it's wonderful that they both were able to be here. We're going to start with Tom McNeely. A former Wallace Stegner and National Endowment for the Arts Fellow, Tom McNeely has published fiction in the Atlantic Monthly, Plowshares, Virginia Quarterly Review, and nonfiction in Ninth Letter. His stories have been included in textbooks and anthologies, including What If?, Writing Exercises for Fiction Writers, and Best of the South. Stories from the second decade of New Stories of the South, and shortlisted for Pushcart O'Henry and Best American Short Story Collection. He teaches in Stanford Online Writing Studio and Emerson College Honors Program, and lives near Boston with his wife and daughter. Join me in welcoming Tom McNeely.
Thank you all so much for coming out on this beautiful night here in Austin. I know the temptation to go outside and not sit in a bookstore listening to people read is probably great. So thank you for coming here and listening to us read. This is Ghost Horse is a book that sort of alternates between the world of children and the world of adults. And the world of children, in the book, two boys, Buddy Turner and his friend Alex Torres, are making an animated movie about a ghost horse. And in the adult world of the book, there's a divorce going on. And one of the ways in which Buddy becomes entangled in his father's, in the adult world, in his father's world, is he is keeping a secret for his father, the existence of a woman that his father is dating. So that's sort of the general outline of the book. The first scene I'll read is from the child's world, and the second scene is sort of about a collision between the adult and the children's world. Okay. Scene 1. Night. Hugh searches for the horse in the swamp. Lightning flashes. Hugh sees the horse and goes to him. The horse is dead. Hugh kneels and prays. Lightning strikes the horse. The horse rises up from the ground, glows in the sky, and spreads his wings. Hugh reaches for the horse. The horse flies away. He hurries down the street to Alex's house, fists in his new uniform jacket against the sharp October wind, his new uniform pants already too tight. Above him, the horse hovers, keeping watch. Buddy can't see him, though he can smell his clean, piney smell. Hear the luff of his wings like sheets on the wind. He is different from the horse in the movie. Each night, Buddy dreams of this horse, no more than a shadow, shambling down on him, a bag of bones. In the dream, he reaches for the horse, which descends but never arrives, and when he wakes, he is still reaching. As usual, he is late. The clapboard and asbestos shingle houses, the vacant blocks along the freeway that were cleared to widen it. All of it looks strange and small, a set in a Godzilla movie, as if all of it could be swept away. Different from the brick houses, different from the brick houses on winding streets near his new school, St. Edward's, all approximately alike, and a likeness that secretly pleases him. This is why the street to Alex's house looks strange. He knows what the boys at St. Edward's would say about it. He knows what Simon Quine would say. The word that Simon used, that his mother has told him never to use, is still in his mouth, a grain of salt under his tongue. They go into the room and they're talking about this movie they're making. I've been thinking, Buddy says, Maybe we should get rid of the horse. Alex glances up at him, unsmiling. Buddy doesn't know why he said this. Before he spoke, he didn't know what he would say. ¿Por qué? Alex says, eyeing him. It's not real, Buddy says. It's not adult, like what I told you about my dad. He's told Alex how his father visits every weekend. What he means is that his father is coming back. But he doesn't know if this is true, or even if he wants it to be true. Behind him, he feels Alex stand. For a moment, he thinks that Alex will hit him, though Alex has never hit him before. He wishes it would happen. But Alex reaches past him, opens a drawer, slips a cinnamon candy into his mouth. All this ain't real, he says. But he doesn't look at him. What are we going to do without the horse? Alex says. No sé, Buddy says. That's right, loco, you don't know, because there's nothing. There's nothing, no movie without it. ¿Qué es más real que el caballo espectral? But he knows what he means. Alex has given him this speech before. Maybe, he says. Por si acaso no, Alex says. Finish the script. Then we finish the storyboards. Then we can start filming. Then we send it to the studios. Buddy keeps his back to Alex. He wants to ask Alex why he doesn't just make the movie himself. On the wall are pictures of horses jumping, horses grazing, horses fording a river. Next to each real picture is a drawing. Even then, it is clear to him that Alex is studying horses, so he will understand what it is to be one, just as he has drawn monsters and vampires and herons until he becomes them. The horses canter, gallop, seeming to move even when they are still. But at the moment, all of it seems fragile and foolish. Inside Alex's room, he believes what Alex says, but outside it, it sounds crazy in a way that makes Buddy afraid that he will go crazy too. He hasn't told Alex about the sounds he's heard when his father came to Houston that summer after Buddy visited him at Fort Polk, his mother crying out as if she was in pain. He still hasn't turned to him, but he can picture Alex in his stained shirt with his stained hands. El Toro Loco, the boys, the Queen of Peace called him because he cried sometimes for no reason and punched kids flat. He can picture them from above, two fat kids in a room full of stupid drawings. He knows what Simon Quine would say, what any of the boys at St. Edward's would say, and it frightens him. Okay, he says, I'll try. That's the child's world, part of it. This is what happens when Buddy, after Buddy has let slip to his mother that the existence of his father's girlfriend. His father takes him to a track. His father stops near the corner, turns so that Buddy can see only a sliver of his face. His black hair looks slicked down on his head. His white t-shirt stuck to his shoulder blades in flesh-colored patches, already soaked through with rain. There's the track, his father says, pointing at the field. We'll do 10 laps. We'll need to stretch out first, so we don't pull our muscles. His father bends over and touches his toes. Buddy leans down. The backs of his knees stretch tight. His fingertips quiver. Is that as far as you can go? His father says behind him. Don't they have PE at that fucking school? His father presses down on his shoulders. Don't bend your knees, he says. Buddy straightens his knees. His sneakers recede. Okay, his father says. Now touch your toes. Buddy reaches, quivering, his stomach bunched under his rib cage, afraid that the backs of his knees will pop. God damn it, his father says. He locks Buddy's shins with the edge of his sneaker, pushes down on his shoulders. Buddy's fingers hit the grass. There, his father says. You did it. His father lets go of him. Buddy stands, knowing he's done nothing. His father is already in the field. Buddy walks past him, not looking at him. He thinks he knows now why it is better not to. Set the pace, his father says. Stay in the middle lane. Buddy sets off down the track. His sneakers squish, his hair is wet, his jacket slick and dark. As he nears the fence at the opposite end of the track, he sees a family at a window of one of the houses. Father, mother, 2 children, gathered in front of a TV. He imagines the warmth of the room, the softness of the couch where they sat, then the school's long, ugly flank, its rows of dark windows stretch out, and the vast, empty field, a shadowy smudge of oaks at its end, and his heart clenches and sickens. He closes his eyes, but in the darkness he hears too clearly the slap of his shoes on the track, his catching breath, his father padding lightly behind him. In the darkness he hears too clearly someone else beside him, telling him to stop. He opens his eyes. He is almost at the stoop at the corner. In the gap between the school and the trees past the fence on Greenbrier, a car like his father's sweeps by, a face in its passenger window, looking out at him. "You're doing good," his father says. "9 more." He runs like this, past the house and the school and the oaks, then back toward the house. His father calls out 8 more, then 7. "I can't," Buddy says, as they close on the house again. "Yes, you can," his father says. "I can't," he says, hating his own childish whine, not knowing if it is he or the voice beside him who is speaking. "Yes, you can," his father says. "Don't think about it. You're doing good." He tries not to look in the window, but he glimpses the television, his father leaning forward to stroke his child's hair or pick up his drink. The dark windows on the side of the school stretch out in the smudge of oaks, its shadows mysterious and deep. "Please stop," he says. "If we stop now," his father says, "we'll have to start over next Saturday and the Saturday after that until you get it right." He turns to his father, but he sees only a pale, dim shape charging behind him. "Don't turn around," his father says. "Keep going." He looks down at the track so as not to look at his father. The track is made of hard red stuff painted with white lines. Each granule passes slowly beneath him. He feels as if he's woken and found himself running, as if he and his father will keep running forever. "Stop," the voice beside him says. "Give up." But he can't. He can't let his father think that he has betrayed him. In the gap between the school and the trees, cars sweep past, their headlights lit. "Come on," his father says. "We're almost there." He shuffles, his legs shambling under him, hating his own weakness, waiting to see what will happen. "Come on," his father says, shoving him. He stumbles forward. A bright line of fear opens in his chest. He runs past the dark oaks, turning the corner toward the house. "Sorry," his father says. But he doesn't answer him. He is running now, his jacket hot, it smells sharp. "I'm sorry," his father says. He glimpses the flickering television, the dark windows, the field, a sickly feeling spreading through him, faraway sadness. 5 more, his father says. "You're doing good. You need to zip up your jacket so you don't catch cold." "Buddy," his father says, "you need to zip up your jacket." He closes his eyes. The horse will swoop down, bowing his head to let in a light, and they will fly above the city. A stitch cuts into his side, a pain like a knife beneath his ribs. "What's wrong?" his father says. He opens his mouth and finds he cannot talk. "What's wrong?" his father says. But he turns to him. "Don't turn around," his father says. "What's wrong?" "It hurts," Buddy says. "Don't think about it. Talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking." "I hate you," Buddy says. But it isn't what he's meant to say. What he meant to say has gotten lost. Everything got lost. "Okay," his father says, calmly. 4 more. Why do you hate me?" He shambles past the smudge of oaks, holding his side. His legs feel as if they might snap. "You're a robot," he says, not knowing if it is him or the voice beside him who is speaking. "You're trying to kill me." "I'm not trying to kill you, Buddy. I'm trying to help you. Is that what your mother says, that I'm trying to hurt you?" His t-shirt is cold on his chest. Ahead in the house are the Quines. The Quines are in the house, but he can't see them. In the dark field spreads out before him, the shadowy oaks, the cars almost invisible except for the streaks of their headlights. 3 more, his father says. What do you want to do, buddy? The pain splits his side, but it is better now than stopping. What do you want to do, his father says. The Quines aren't home. It is his mother's house. It is the house where he will live with the woman and his father. You're not my father, the voice beside him says. You killed him. His father shoves him again, harder this time. Shut up, he says. I'm your father and I love you. That's why I came back. He sprawls ahead, cartwheeling his arms to keep his balance. He runs, holding his side past the school's dark windows. 2 more, his father says. What do you want, buddy? You want me to leave? He runs, following the white lines that shine in the dark, a phantom, a ragged ghost. The family in the house are ghosts, and in the school building, ghosts of children press their faces against the dark panes of glass. His father calls out the last lap. What do you want, buddy? Do you want me to go away? His legs shamble beneath him. He is a robot fitted together from spare parts. He shuffles off the track and falls to his knees, trying to soothe the pain that splits his side. The cold ground sends a shock into his chest, and he grips the wet grass, trying to be still, to make it stop. Get up, his father says behind him. He keeps his face turned from his father, listening to the rain whisper on the track. Get up, his father says, nudging him with his shoe. We'll have to do it again. He kneels on the ground, squeezing his eyes shut. Is this what you want, his father says, to lay out here in the dirt? He keeps still, not daring to turn to look at his father. You know what's going to happen if you don't learn to finish what you start? You're going to get your ass kicked the rest of your life. I don't care, he says. You don't care about your getting your ass kicked? You want to live out there with your mother and get your ass kicked? Or do you want to live out here with me? I don't care, Buddy says. I don't want your shitty houses. Fine, his father says, his voice changed. That's just fine. I'm going back to my mother's. I'll see you later. Have a nice life. He listens to his father's footsteps recede across the track, willing himself not to move. All of it is a lie. All of it is a joke, and he's believed it, but he won't believe it anymore. He rises, trying to zip his jacket, pulling it closed across his chest with trembling hands. He turns to the oaks and starts toward Greenbrier, toward the passing cars. As he passes the shadowy oaks, spirits of the boys buried in the fields and the raggedy men on South Main flit, beckoning him. He keeps his eyes on the fence, and then past the cypresses, another ghost appears. He will not go back. He will never go back. And then he is running, as if not he, but another boy is running. And in the darkness he sees his father's face, convulsed, transformed by grief.